Was the Garden of Eden perfect before the fall?
Was the Garden of Eden perfect before the fall?
Yes.
It was a probationary period for Adam.
Have you ever started a new job where you go on like a probationary period, or
Uh,
you have a period of time where you have to get up to like a certain work level or something?
this is irrelevant. I'm asking what world did God want? And you are saying he wanted the perfect world and the broken world at the same time, yet he's all powerful and he can have whatever he wants. But he wants two things that contradict each
Essentially,
other.
what I'm saying is it was a test.
It's not a test.
It
How can an all-knowing person test
was a
someone?
test.
What's the point of testing him? He knows the answer.
Okay, we're not all knowing. We
He
don't know
is.
the outcome.
Why would he even waste
We're
his
not
time?
all knowing. We don't know the outcome though. We don't know the
Why would he
we
waste?
it,
It's a waste of
we don't
time.
know the outcome.
He's
It's up
stroking his
to
own
us.
ego to test you. If God is what you think he is, he's stroking his own ego to test you.
Okay,
What's wrong with that?
and what's wrong with that? Like, what's wrong with doing that? What's wrong with knowing the answer and testing somebody who doesn't know the answer? I mean, you went to college. Didn't your professor do that? Would you say there was something wrong with that?
No, my professor didn't create me in a situation where my descendants, most of which would burn in hell for this fun little game he's playing. If my professor's test resulted in human genocide, yes, my professor would be a monster.
He doesn't do wrong. No.
Oh, and by definition, all human genocide actually would be the result of that test for God. So.
Okay. No. Well, what I'm saying. Okay, let me ask you a question. But I'm still saying that your professor does the same thing pretty much.
No.
Okay, they may not set you up to fail, but if they test you on something that they know that you don't, are they wrong for doing so? And if you're going to say they're wrong for doing, and if you're going to say they're wrong for doing so, then describe your grounds for saying what's wrong.
You're totally ignoring the consequences. You're just asking about the test. You're blowing off all the consequences. People burning in hell, genocide, supposedly the whole world being flooded and everyone being murdered. You're just wiping that away and just worrying about this stupid question as though it means nothing. God created a situation where supposedly
Well, okay, to you, why
overwhelming
is it
suffering
wrong?
would result.
To you, why is it wrong?
To
Why
torture
is it?
human beings. It's wrong against my morality because it hurts people. Because I think it's wrong to hurt people.
And so what if it hurts you? Why is it wrong?
No, I say I think it's wrong to hurt people.
And
That's why I say
so
it's
what
wrong.
if you think it's wrong to hurt people? Why is it's wrong yet?
Because I said it's wrong. Because I think it's wrong.
But you haven't established what your grounds for saying that it's wrong is.
No, because I think it's wrong to hurt people. Because it causes suffering. Because it causes pain. Yeah, that's it. You don't have to agree with me. You might like torturing people. I don't know.
So that's acceptable. So that's a straw man. I don't like torturing people, no, but,
Well,
but I have an objective standard that will tell me why it's wrong.
You're justifying a situation that results in all torture that has ever happened.
No, I'm asking you.
You're defending it. You're defending this monster. I'm not.
I'm asking you what's wrong with all torture that's ever happened.
Well, that's a silly question. You don't know what's wrong with that?
I'm just asking you what's wrong with it.
Do you think it's wrong?
Viewpoint, why is it wrong?
Do you think it's wrong?
From your viewpoint, why is it wrong?
I've already told you. Do you think it's wrong? If God could create a situation where none of this ever happened and chose not to, you think that's not wrong?
If God created a situation where none of this ever happened, how would we know good? We'd have nothing to compare it to.
How do you know? Could he? You're saying God could not create a perfect world?
I'm saying God can create a perfect world. He didn't, because if he didn't, in other words, if he didn't, how would anyone know that they need to be saved?
He can make them know. They wouldn't need to be saved.
How? Without giving something.
They wouldn't need to be saved.
They would.
That's a good point.
They also wouldn't appreciate. They also wouldn't appreciate being saved.
Why is that necessary? They don't need to be saved. So a couple
If you
people.
don't know what
The appreciation of a couple people outweighs the eternal torture and torment of others? Is that seriously your standard of morality?
What I'm saying is, without having any of that have happened, we wouldn't have known. We wouldn't have known that we needed to have been saved. We would have had no appreciation for being saved. We would have had, in other words, if you live a life where you're raised in a mansion and you have a bunch of money, you never learn to appreciate the things that you don't have. If you were to grow up like I did, moving around, living in the ghetto my whole life, I would have never appreciated having things. But having things your whole life given to you because you're born to a rich family, you don't appreciate them because you've never had to live without them.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
So you're saying just so some people would have a little bit better of a heaven, it's worth to send tons of people to hell.
You broke up. I couldn't hear you.
So to improve the heavenly experience of some, it's worth to send tons of others to hell.
No, it's not improving the heavenly experience. What it is it's showing us how much we needed to have been saved, to give appreciation to the fact that
we didn't need to be saved unless God made that situation. In
other words, had we not known evil,
yeah,
but we would have had no. But living in a world like that, we would have had no appreciation for it.
For evil?
That's essentially like we would have had no appreciation for good, and nor would we have had a standard for it either. But whatever.
Why would that matter? I don't see where your point is. You're saying we couldn't just make an all-good world because we wouldn't appreciate it. And in order to make people appreciate this all-good world, God decided to torture people for eternity.
They decided themselves.
No, he decided. He created the situation. Could God create a situation where Adam and Eve would appreciate their life? They didn't choose it. He chose it. God could have just created...
He chose the means necessary to show people.
No, God could have just created heaven and been over with it.
And there would have been there would have been absolutely no way to have said, okay, well, here's what you could have experienced, so appreciate what you do have. You know what I'm saying?
And this isn't coming from a Bible. This is just pulling out of your ass, but yes.
No, in other words, he would have had to show somebody, he would have had to show people, or had to have a way to show people what his morality is, or what he is as morality, what morality is, what truth is.
Why?
In other words, without having a... Why?
Yeah, you're
be appreciative of it.
You're creating all these rules, all these things for the way how the universe has to be and why it wouldn't make any sense any other way, but you're just making it up.